What is good, everybody? Welcome back to Dynasty Nerds. And look, guys, I don't know why I just hit that intro like that. It's what came out, man. But look, we're back for our Friday Q&A trade stream. Here to answer your guys' trade questions. But Pete, football's back, man.
Football's back.
I know it was Hall of Fame game, and people always want to, poo-poo on the preseason. But hey, we had a fun game. If you guys sat down and watched it, it was 33-30. The Carolina Panthers win on a last-minute touchdown from Haynes King. Like, fun game. For Dynasty Fantasy football purposes, I always like watching preseason games. It's your chance to go out there and see those dart throws that you picked up off the waiver wire, or just guys you picked up in the 5th round of your rookie draft or 4th round of your rookie draft, whoever. It's a chance to go see the guys that don't really, usually get the playing time in season, show you something, and you start to find some diamonds in the rough in the preseason. So I always like watching it. I don't know how you feel about that, Pete. Do you enjoy watching preseason, or do you not really watch too much?
I do enjoy watching it. I do often find, though, that it can almost be detrimental to
Like
you
misleading.
So I'm curious. I didn't tell you that I was going to ask you this.
Okay.
But what advice do you have to people who want to have good takeaways for fantasy football, but also not to get taken away too much by the hype? Do you have any pieces of advice for that?
Yeah, it's tough, man, because honestly, I think most of the time it really just comes down to feel. For me, typically, I had somebody ask me today, here's like a good example of preseason training camp type of hype that you have to kind of decipher whether or not it's real. And somebody asked me today, they said, hey, what would you be selling Cyrus Allen for? Because Cyrus Allen's a guy for the Kansas City Chiefs that's gotten a lot of hype recently in training camp. They're saying he's working with the ones. And so he's been a guy that I have on a lot of rosters. In fact, I think all of my dynasty rosters, except one team, I have Cyrus Allen sitting on a taxi squad somewhere. So he's kind of just been like a waiver wire pickup. I was taking him in like super late picks, like the 48th guy off the board, where I was just taking Cyrus Allen. I like the profile, and figured why not take a shot on him in a situation where in Kansas City, Rashee Rice obviously has had some off of the field issues. Xavier Worthy's been underwhelming. Travis Kelce's older. If a couple of things, go the right direction, maybe Cyrus Allen's relevant. Like, that was my thought process. But somebody asked me, what are you selling for? And I think for me in preseason, Pete, I do a lot of confirmation bias. And maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. But Cyrus Allen was a guy that I liked. And I said, you know what? I'll take the dart throw on him. And now he's getting buzz. I am probably not going to be moving Cyrus Allen or selling Cyrus Allen just for the sake of selling. I know sometimes people say, well, this is a game that you have to take your little value wins. What's the difference here, Pete? If I drafted Cyrus Allen in the 4th and I can sell him for a 3rd, no big difference for me. So I need you to come out here and give me an overpay. I need a 2nd round pick in 2027. I need something like that to move off of one of my priors and go from there. Now, for some of the guys that maybe I did have priors on and didn't get hype, if somebody's willing to sell him for the 3rd, I'll pay up the extra 1 round. I probably won't go the super overpay into the 2nd. That's what I need to get off of him. It's not what I'm willing to pay because I'm willing to miss out on the outlier. But yeah, it's kind of just gut feel there. But looking at your priors, what is actually happening, what actually has, a pathway to relevancy if things fall the right direction, and then just trying to target those. I mean, I know a lot of people who years and years ago, and I'm not saying this is going to be Cyrus Allen, don't hear what I'm not saying, but I know a lot of people years and years ago, Pete, who were like, take that 3rd round pick, take that 2nd round pick for Puka Nacua in preseason because it's not going to work out. And then Puka ended up being that guy. So, sometimes you can play the little value win game, but a lot of the times it's better if you had conviction on a player before, just see it through.
Yeah.
I'm not going to miss the 3rd.
I think for me, that only changes with running back.
Yeah.
But there is still an element to that, right? With I remember I was able to pick up James Robinson off of the waiver wire
Yeah.
And I was able to play him for that year, and it was a great year. But then it was like, okay, time to move away, because it's very obvious that was when Etienne was rumored to link with them and all that stuff. But
you still got value out of James Robinson.
correct.
You were able to use him, you played him, and then you probably, what did you sell him for? Probably at least a second, right?
Yeah, I don't remember, but it was a lot more than, and that's the thing too, is I'm not looking to flip a 4th round for a 3rd round. Like, to me, that doesn't really help much.
The little value wins, they just, can you look back at it and say, yeah, I spent my 5th round pick or my 4th round pick and I got a 3rd, and say like, yeah, I made some money? Sure. But is the little 1 round bump up that you're going to get worth the ride of sitting there and holding the mystery box of what will happen? Like, to me, it's like, sometimes it's just sit down and watch the games unfold, man. Like, let's just see what happens here. So I get it. Some people will tell you to make that small little value win, and if you stack enough of those over 10 years, all of a sudden it means something. But man, we play fantasy football, and sometimes I just want to see my guys fail or succeed. I don't care. But speaking of somebody who succeeded early on, what about Carson Beck, man? Carson Beck comes out last night, ends up going 15 for 19, gets the start for the Arizona Cardinals, 188 yards, layering some nice throws, got a touchdown in the back of the end zone. Look, this is a guy who was playing some damn good ball last night, and it's just preseason. It's just Hall of Fame game. They're playing against backups, and it's the Carolina Panthers backup defense. But I don't know about you, Pete. I thought this was a guy who, when he got drafted to the Arizona Cardinals, was going to get starting reps for the Cardinals here this year. And now that I have seen him play one game, I don't want to overreact too much, but I've seen him play one game. This kid's going to play some games for the Cardinals this year, man.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I was thinking back to like, okay, let's slow down. Zach Wilson had these type of games. JJ McCarthy had these types of games. Didn't Sanders
had a preseason game where he broke out the wristwatch?
Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Yeah. Guys have preseason games.
Preseason darling. But the thing that I liked about Beck, though, is he has the tools to be a quarterback in this league, right? And that's kind of the things that separates him from some of those other names, like the Dorian Thompson-Robinsons, whereas like he could be a well-rounded multiple year starter in this league.
And the fact too that Carson Beck's a guy who has a lot of collegiate experience and at big programs. I mean, he's played in multiple national championship games. Like, he's played deep into the college football playoffs in multiple different programs. Like, it's a guy who has experience. He's seasoned as a prospect, and it looked kind of like that, out in the preseason game. He didn't seem like nothing was moving fast. Like, it seemed like he was pretty comfortable last night.
Yeah. Overall, I was very excited and encouraged what I saw. I was able to like pick him up like late in the 3rd in a couple of drafts. So if someone came up and wanted like a early 2nd, or like was willing to give an early 2nd for him, I would probably be selling right now.
Yeah.
But that's just because of how much I believe in the 27 class.
Yeah, an early 2nd, you for sure. I saw that comment where somebody said he went 109. That's really aggressive for me. But if you're getting an early 2nd in 2027, I think already I am considering moving off of him. But hey, like, this is a guy who very well, I don't think it's out of the range of outcomes. This could be the Tyler Shuck pathway of this year's draft class.
With a better offense, too. That's the crazy thing.
Maybe not. I don't know. I feel like at least
pieces-wise.
Yeah, as a rookie, probably, because it was Olave and really that was about it. Juwan Johnson, if you really want to say that. But I think this year with Jordan Tyson and Olave and all Etienne, like it's definitely a good offense for Shuck. But yeah, I think this could be this year's version of maybe Tyler Shuck. Now, if you're playing in like a super deep league, 14 teams, 16 teams, or whatever, you got a ton of bench spots and it's a super flex, I think Haynes King is a guy who played pretty solid last night. 21 for 34, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ends up, like I said, getting that game-winning rushing touchdown that he had there. And that's the thing, too. He can do it with his legs, Pete. Like 3 for 39 on the ground. He had some of that mobility. Not necessarily a guy who I loved as a prospect. However, I talked about with Cyrus Allen early on that sometimes you have to find these sneaky back alley pathways to relevancy for players. And Kenny Pickett is QB2 right now, obviously, for the Carolina Panthers. But I think we know what Kenny Pickett is at this time. And Haynes looked pretty impressive for the most part, given he was playing against the third string or the fourth string for Arizona. That said, would it be surprising to you if Carolina moves on from Bryce Young at the end of the year, if he doesn't play well, and all of a sudden there is a slim little chance for Haynes King? I know we're talking about really just dumpster diving here, but I think Haynes King in those deep 14, 16 team Superflex leagues is worth picking up and putting on a taxi.
Or at least a backup quarterback that's interesting, right?
As rushing upside
goes down, kind of like the Malik Willis.
Yeah.
On the Packers, where it's like, oh, sweet. We at least have a baseline and it's not these Hoyers or anyone like that. And I was like, okay, well, he might not lose the game, but he's not going to win our fantasy week.
I saw him get picked up in, I have a couple 10-man leagues, just like home leagues with friends from high school. And I saw him get picked up in a 10-man league. I would not be picking him up in 10-man leagues. That feels really...
Yeah.
Unless if you're getting down to Haynes King
rosters.
It's fairly deep rosters, but
okay.
I mean, there's guys like Davis Mills on the waiver wire, and I feel like I'd rather Davis Mills than Haynes King. But
I mean, it's one of those things that that Mills is a better quarterback right now.
Yeah.
But who's a better fantasy player?
Yeah,
I think I would rather have him.
Well, we got football. That was the first one. Yep. We're going to get more of it. Excited to see what happens and what other overreactions we can make. I know we're sitting here talking about Haynes King for the first time. There's going to be plenty of other guys we can talk about like that. There are 2 guys who signed as free agent wide receivers here recently. Stephon Diggs signs with the Washington Commanders. We've kind of been waiting for this foot to drop for Stephon Diggs. We knew he kind of was going to have some opportunities. It just was a matter of where. In my opinion, Pete, this is probably the best landing spot possible for Stephon Diggs. Guy, who's from the Maryland area, ends up going back here to Washington, and now all of a sudden gets to play number 2 alongside a guy like Terry McLaurin. You got Antonio Williams there who can play that slot role now, which is probably where he was going to be better at anyways. So now you can kind of move him into the slot, have Diggs and Terry on the outside, and then Chigakonkwo. I think this is good for Diggs. Obviously, in Dynasty, it's a guy you're looking at as like a 1 to 2 year rental at best, but really nice offense with a good quarterback. Should see some opportunity here this year. I would not be shocked if Stephon Diggs ends up flirting in that top 36 territory where he's giving you wide receiver 3 numbers this year.
Ooh, okay. No, and I kind of acted like that was a hot take, but even look at his year last year. I mean, he was wide receiver 17 in total points.
Yeah, and he was the number 1 there, right? Like he was the number 1 guy. You go to be the number 2 now, but maybe that's good for you. I mean, Terry could see the number 1 corner every week, and that means Diggs is playing against corner 2s, and he might love that.
I mean, could this just be just a boomer version of Chris Godwin and Mike Evans? You know what I mean?
It could be.
It's just, I mean, if Daniels does play all the games, that passing offense looks a lot better. If Diggs is taking away coverage from McLaurin, because that's a hard thing with McLaurin is he never really had that partner. I mean, you could say that Debo was kind of that guy, but that was when Daniels was coming in and out, and also how good is Debo now? I'm a lot more confident in Diggs as a wide receiver.
Yeah, I still think he has some juice. If you're a contending team, I'd be checking the price tag. Obviously, the price tag today is a lot more expensive than it was, but if people have been holding on Diggs all offseason thinking that it was over and now they're looking for an opportunity to sell, like I think there's some contender value for you to maybe go buy him if you can use him as a wide receiver 4 or 5 on a flex spot, depending on your league, because I think he can finish in that top 36 type of range. Now, you mentioned Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel ends up going to the San Francisco 49ers, reunited. I think this was kind of clear this was going to happen. The writing was on the wall. George Kittle's been recruiting him basically all offseason. And then you have the Ricky Pearsall injury, which once the Ricky Pearsall injury happened, the next day, Deebo Samuel signed, and then we got the news that Ricky was out for the rest of the season. I think the Deebo was the indication that there was going to be some trouble in paradise for Ricky, unfortunately. But look, you get Deebo Samuel, who goes into this wide receiver core. It is Mike Evans. It is Deebo. It is Dejon Stribling. It is George Kittle. Pete, 5 years ago, we would have been like, holy hell, what a group. But I feel like right now we're looking at a lesser version of Mike Evans, Kittle off of an Achilles tear, and Deebo, who's definitely a much lesser version of himself. I don't know how Brock Purdy's going to do it, but Brock Purdy's still being drafted in the top 12 quarterbacks in Superflex formats. So, this is going to be an interesting year for the Niners. But for Deebo Samuel, I'm less bullish on him than I am Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, so you're a team that's having a bunch of injuries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not it has to do anything with, you guys know what I'm talking about. You bring in Deebo?
Yeah.
That's asking for, I mean, I get it. It's a guy who knows the system, all that stuff, but man, I'm just not confident in him long-term at all.
I don't know, man. I think if
he's healthy, he'll be great.
If he's healthy, right? He'll be great. I know there's familiarity. Well, I don't even know if he'll be great, to be honest. Like, if he's healthy, he'll be okay. The opportunity should be there. I obviously, in Dynasty, I like Stribling much more than I like Deebo Samuel. But I even wonder if in redraft, Stribling will end up being better than Deebo Samuel this year. So, like, single season format type of thing. I also kind of wonder, like, I don't know if this was even an exploration for them, but I know there's familiarity with Deebo Samuel. I would have rather seen like Keenan Allen come over and sign and be the wide receiver in his, final season, whatever. But maybe Keenan Allen ends up signing somewhere else. I threw out a half-baked take the other day and said, if the Rams are going all in and Keenan wants to stay in LA where his family's at, why not go ring chase with the Rams and have it be Puka, Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, and then you have Aaron Donald coming back and all these other things. Dude, that Rams team's going to be so good.
Oh, man. They'll be fun to watch.
They'll be fun to watch. I hope they get one more wide receiver because I think they are a little shallow in that wide receiver room. But look,
they got all the tight ends.
They got all the tight ends. They got like 5 of them that you might like. So, look, man, we are here to talk trades, though. That is just the breaking news, the things that has happened. That catches everything up. I know we're 20 minutes into the show, but we got 40 minutes here where we can talk some trades. So if you guys haven't already, throw some trades in the chat. We're going to get to as many of them as possible, and we will try and talk this out for the next, 40 minutes, remainder of the show. But, Pete, you got the first one here.
Yeah, it's a 12-team Superflex PPR. Trade away Cam Scattaboo, Tucker Kraft, and a 27 third for Fannin and a 27 first.
Yeah, I think this one's a fine deal for the most part. I mean, I look at it, and it's Harold Fannin and Tucker Kraft are 2 guys that I have in the same tier. I have Fannin over Kraft, but I think they're back-to-back 5 and 6 for me in my rankings that I just went and updated. So then you have Cam Scattaboo, who's going for a first-round pick here in 2027, wherever that ends up landing. I still think you could argue that Scattaboo as the starter is probably worth that. Okay. I don't think there's an issue with this. It's a fair deal. It's based off of what you need. So, yeah, go for it. If you needed Scattaboo and Kraft, go for it. But I am worried slightly, just slightly, that Kraft may not be fully back to form until later in the year.
Okay. Great. Next trade we got here is Drake London and Jeremiah Love for Justin Jefferson, Carnell Tate, and a 27 second. I need running back bad. Let's see. Do you have the running back room? You do not, but his other wide receivers are CeeDee Lamb, Neighbors, Egbuka, and McConkey. That's a pretty sick receiver
Pretty sick room. I mean, and the fact too that you are adding Drake London to it from the down tier, from Jefferson, I think that's perfectly fine here. I think this is one of those trades where you look at it and you say, could you have slightly overpaid? Maybe. If you had to say Jefferson versus Love in a startup draft, who's going higher? I think most would draft Jefferson still over Love. While that could change in a year, maybe, but I think most right now would still be drafting Jefferson over Love. And then obviously London's going over Tate. You may lose this today. It fixes your roster construction. I think it's a great trade for you. This is a good trade for the London and Love side.
Great. Next trade we got is Nico Collins straight up for Quinshon Judkins and Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, I love
and Amon-Ra St. Brown need a running back.
I love this because I think Nico and QJ, Quinshon Judkins, I need to stop calling him QJ because there's already another QJ out there. But Quinshon Judkins, I think you could argue that those guys are already fairly close in value right now with the offseason hype that Judkins has been getting. So you're basically getting what I would see as a very discounted, I won't call him free, but a very discounted Brian Thomas Jr. And I love that. So yeah, you need running back, get the value in Judkins and get a very, very cheap BTJ. Love that.
Great. Next trade we got. Let's see.
I'm in on the BTJ bounce back this year. I think it's happening.
Me too. I think where he's at right now is a perfect spot. Let's see, what's his ADP? Oh, unranked. I don't think that's correct. But let's move on to the next trade. This is another Brian Thomas Jr. trade. Brian Thomas Jr. and Jadarian Price for a 27 first, 28 first, and 227 seconds.
Well, for what it's worth, I just looked it up on KTC. I know it's not necessarily ADP, but easy resource to pull up. BTJ is wide receiver 28, which feels like a really nice spot for some value installation if you're getting him in the wide receiver 28 range. But yeah, I mean, look, just speaking of hype and buzz lately, I mean, Hard Knocks is out. First episode of Hard Knocks, they gave us about a 2-minute highlight reel of Jadarian Price. That's what we got immediately in Dynasty, was some Jadarian hype and a Price hype. And I think he's a player that, obviously is believed in by this organization. They drafted him in the first round when they really didn't have to. And then you go out and all of this camp hype is guys talking about how good you look, your teammates telling you how good you look, the coach telling you how good you look. The thing that's hard for me with Jadarian Price right now is they just had a Super Bowl MVP running back. A Super Bowl MVP running back that they were splitting touches with Zach Charbonnet. Now, Charbonnet is going to be coming back from injury, so makes me wonder, how much of this workload is Jadarian Price going to get right away? But I still have my doubts here, Pete, that while Price may be early on the number one guy in Seattle, if Zach Charbonnet, who's in a contract year right now and likely going to have to run it back, this is my hypothesis. Likely going to have to run it back in Seattle on a short-term deal because he's not going to get to prove himself in his contract season, which is very unfortunate for Zach Charbonnet. Is this going to be more of a committee backfield than we want once Charbonnet is healthy? My guess is probably yes. But I look at this trade here and I start trying to do the math. Is Price worth the 27 first? I probably would rather have the 27 first than Price right now. Is BTJ worth the rest of it? 28 first, 27 second. I think you could say yes. So the value makes sense. If you want the young players and you believe in BTJ and Price, go for it. But if you're rebuilding and you're getting all of these draft picks, the 2 first, 2 seconds, I have zero issues with that, especially with most of those being in 2027.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I'm trying to parse through right now with Price is I know, obviously the split with Walker and Charbonnet last year, but how much of that was because they just weren't confident with Walker being able to take the full workload?
Health-wise?
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's something that Walker has always showed, that he has a hard time kind of just keeping up consistently.
Yeah.
And I look at Price and I think he's a running back that can do that. but we'll see.
Not a lot of carries on the body coming out of college because he was, playing behind Jeremiah Love. So if you're one of those people that believes in like workload in college, taking the toll, you don't have a lot of workload in college taking the toll. Now that obviously was a lack in production. The one thing with Jadarian Price, which in my, pre-draft scouting, I noticed was he does have a previous Achilles tear in his resume.
Really? Okay.
So that is something to pay attention to. Jadarian Price does have an Achilles tear on his resume.
Okay. Next trade, we got a 27 first, a 28 second for Henderson, Alec Pierce, and a 27 third.
This is another really solid trade, I think, because I think you have a conversation here where the 27 first and Henderson, you could go either way depending on where you believe and what your team needs and all of that stuff. Because when I look at 2027's draft class right now, obviously the strengths are quarterback and wide receiver. And we know that there's a tight end or two that we like. How many of these running backs end up getting good draft capital? I think there's a couple that can. But TreVeyon Henderson, man, the upside that he has and the draft capital that he has, it just feels so good. And if you were to tell me
about him as someone who had 10 touchdowns and 1,100 yards, I think that was in the playoffs too. That might have been combined stats.
I mean, he barely played in the playoffs, so it really wouldn't have mattered. Like it was really just Ramondre Stevenson getting all the workload in the playoffs. So
yeah,
in your fantasy football season, he just went nuts. The problem was like, I think pulling the number out of the air, but it felt like 40 to 50% of his production came when Ramondre was off of the field for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. So it is tough, but the upside is crazy. And I find it hard for people right now where we look at running backs and we say, year 1 and year 2 are big jump periods for these running backs when they come into the NFL. Like we see the breakouts happen in those time periods. And then TreVeyon Henderson going into year 2, showing us flashes in year 1, everybody's out. Like this feels like one of the things where we might look back on this and say, why the hell were we fading TreVeyon Henderson? And he's somebody that if the price is cheap enough, I'm willing to go in and I'll take the risk on TreVeyon all day long because I think the upside 100%. Is immense. And then here with Pierce in the seconds, like I think he's probably worth a second. You'd rather have Pierce than the 28 second right now, despite me not being very in on Pierce. So again, this is another trade where I think the value is fair. If you want the players today, I'll take those 2 players. I think there's a little bit more value on that side, but if you're rebuilding, you want the draft picks, go for it.
Well, and that's the thing with Henderson too, right? Is he has an insane ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like his floor is backup running back or running back 38 or something like that. He will still be a top 25, top 24 running back in the league.
Here's the thing.
At least for fantasy football. I'm not worried about that.
Last year, TreVeyon Henderson was the running back 25 in fantasy points per game. He averaged 12 fantasy points per game last year. This was in PPR leagues. If you think nothing improves for TreVeyon Henderson, absolutely nothing improves, he gets the exact same role, the exact same type of workload, the exact same type of production as he got as a rookie. There's zero improvement. He's a top 25 running back, averaging 12 fantasy points per game.
Yeah, that's his floor.
If you think things improve, even if he's not getting 90% of the workload, because I don't think that's in the range of outcome for him, if he gets 60% and Stevenson gets the 40%, that's the down and dirty work on the goal line and some of the other stuff, could TreVeyon Henderson average 15 fantasy points per game? Is he a top 18 guy, top 17 guy at the running back position? That's just a little uptick in usage. Like, now, heaven forbid, Ramondre Stevenson at 28 years old suffer an injury or just look like he's a little bit washed at that point in running back life cycle where you start seeing that age cliff. I mean, it's wheels up. We saw that the ceiling for this guy is a top 5 weekly play at the position.
100%. Okay, next trade. We have Zay Flowers and a 2026 late first. If you can tell me what that is, actually, though, that would be sick. 27 late first and a 28 late first for JSN. What are we doing?
I mean, Zay just got the contract, right? Like Zay's locked in now. He's got paid. He's making more money on an annual basis than Justin Jefferson. So good for you, Zay Flowers. But the wide receiver market's ridiculous, man. With Alec Pierce getting the money he got this year and some of the other stuff, like holy cow. But you got Zay Flowers here, the 3 first. I think this makes sense, man. It makes a lot of sense from a value standpoint, because where would you value JSN? 4 firsts, probably. Like that's what you want, is at least 4 future firsts. If you're counting Zay as one of them, which I have an argument here that I think Zay might be worth a little bit more than just 1 first.
For sure.
Then you get the 3 firsts on top of it. The value makes sense. So this is one of those trades where I'd be very curious as to the rest of your roster, because if I have a team where maybe I'm not very good and JSN was like the only real big piece on my team, and I can now use JSN to trade, get myself a wide receiver that still has top 15 upside, and throw a bunch of draft capital into my bank that I can use to buy things in the future, I'm all for it, man. So I think this makes sense. And then for the other guy, like if you have depth and you are all in and JSN's going to buy you a championship right now, like send those first, go for it, push the chips in. So I think it's a very interesting trade. The roster construction would be dope to kind of see, but the value here on JSN, like if you can sell JSN, and I know Garrett's brought it up on the channel a couple times this offseason of like maybe explore the sell high on JSN.
Yeah.
This is the type of compensation you want.
Yeah. I mean, I just agree. I just agree.
Just agree.
Really
said, I don't think that JSN's like a crazy sell. Like I love JSN. I'd be more than happy to keep him around as long as I can. So
yeah. He's not going to regress heavily. Trey, you have Dart on both sides of the trade. So if you can type your trade question in again, that would be great. In the meantime, trying to get Gibbs. How much should I add in addition?
Is this the new headshot for Gibbs?
Yep. Some of these, man. Let me see. I had to confirm if this was from the new headshot or not.
Are they from Sleeper or ESPN?
I think they're sleepers.
I think
but
ESPN.
look at CD's. Look at CD's new headshot.
What in the hell, dude?
Who is that?
I mean, it's CD Lamb, but it looks so weird.
Who is that?
I wonder if they're like,
these look like Madden almost or something like that.
I wonder if they're almost like taking these photos and then throwing them through like an upscaler, like an AI upscaler.
That's what
and
I
then
was
it's
wondering
like
about.
Warping faces a tiny bit, but
it kind of gives, what's it called when something looks human but it isn't? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. I know what you're talking about. I don't know what
something Valley.
Oh, yes, you're right. It's Uncanny Valley.
Uncanny Valley. Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's giving a little bit of that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But looking at this one, he's trying to get Gibbs.
Yep.
What does he need to add in addition here? Well, I think you need to ask yourself this, Joe. In my opinion, obviously I don't know what type of league format you were in, but I value in a bubble Jahmyr Gibbs at 4 first-round picks is where you got to be at. So how many do you think you're giving up right here? Saquon Barkley right now is probably worth what, Pete? One at his age?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 1 first-round pick. Rice is probably worth, depending on who you're selling to, anywhere from probably 1.5 to 1. Maybe some people don't even value Rice enough to buy him because they think there's too much risk. So I think he's like the wild card in this deal. And then obviously you have the other pick in this. I think if you want to guarantee or you really want a good shot at getting this done, I think we're missing about 1 first of value in this deal. So if you want to throw in your 28 first with the 27 first and Barkley and Rice, that probably gets it done. But at worst, it'll let the other manager kind of see that you're serious about it, and they'll probably shoot you a counter. So I think you probably got to go 1 more first in value, whether that be a player who's worth a first or an actual draft pick. I think that's where we're at.
Okay. Next trade we got here, Brian Thomas Jr., which, by the way, a lot of volume recently with the Thomas Jr. Jordan Addison and a 29 first. For Breece Hall and Jalen Waddle, I just have to pause for a second and like my mind cannot comprehend 29 firsts right now.
It feels so
That's
far out into the
crazy to
future,
me.
dude. It seems insane. But I agree. I saw the thing that drove me nuts. One of the leagues that I commissioner, right after the rookie draft, one day after the rookie draft, somebody traded their 29 first. Because you know how like it opens up the following year after the conclusion of the rookie draft?
Yeah.
Dude, they waited less than 24 hours and it was gone. And I was like, holy hell. So if you don't mind, let me see that trade one more time.
Yep.
So I'm looking at this right now, and I think where my mind goes right away is 10 by 10, you know, how close are BTJ and Breece Hall? I think they're probably two pretty close assets in value. Probably would lean Breece Hall just because of the safety and the scarcity of the running back position. I think it's easier to find wide receivers in a 10-man league than it is to find your running backs. So I would probably prefer Breece Hall there. But then it gets down to Jordan Addison and a 29 first for Jalen Waddle, which I think while Waddle is the guy that I like more in a I have to play him right now type of aspect, he did just suffer an injury in training camp. He's going to miss the next couple practices, at least I think for them is what they said. He was seen limping the other day. So obviously not great for Jalen Waddle, but he's the guy that I probably would value as more valuable. So when I look at a 10 by 10, the two most interesting pieces, I guess BTJ would be my second most valuable piece here, but Breece Hall and Jalen Waddle is the more interesting side to me. And in a 10 by 10, I want to consolidate some of the value into playable assets because you need more superstars in a 10 by 10. So I'll go with Breece Hall and Jalen Waddle right here, but I don't think it's a bad deal for either side. It's just Breece Hall and Waddle gives me more confidence in plugging those guys in my lineup and winning this year.
Okay. Next trade, we have Judkins for Josh Jacobs and a 27 first. Looking for a more solid, younger running back room. Currently have Love, Irving, Jacobs, and Monungai. Should I trade Jacobs and a mid-late 27 first for Judkins?
It feels rich, in my opinion, for Judkins. And I like Judkins a lot, but with you having Love, Irving, and Jacobs and Monungai, I don't know if I would actually even look at that room and say you have a need right now, unless you're super nervous about Jacobs' future, which in that case, I think you're selling him cheap. It looks like you might be nervous about Jacobs in this type of offer. So I think, honestly, I would probably be trying to – here's the reality. If you have these guys and you're trying to win right now, I don't know if I'm actually selling Jacobs at this cost. If this is where his value's at in your league, I'm not going to sell him. I'm going to hold on to him. So can you swap Jacobs out for Monungai and make that a deal? Or can you swap Jacobs out for a future second and do your 27 first and a 27 second for Judkins? That would be something I'm more interested in. And then that's another one I just see in the comment section right here. That's a good suggestion. Try Jacobs and Monungai. Could you package those two together? Maybe that's a little bit, I feel like maybe a little bit low because Monungai and the first are pretty different values for me, but I do agree where we're at trying to make this move something else. It just feels like you're giving up a tiny bit too much right now.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that honestly, I am more worried about Irving than Jacobs.
I'm not actually.
Okay.
I think Irving's getting a bad rap right now. Early indications right now at training camp, now that he's been there practicing, does sound like he's been looking pretty good. I do think he's going to get a lot of that receiving work taken away by Kenny Gainwell, but if you were to tell me Jacobs and Bucky Irving, in a bubble right now, who do you want? I think I'd rather just have Irving moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, I am on that train in Dynasty. I'm just thinking scoring points. I don't know. Irving's one of those players that I'm worried about. Can he recover well?
Yeah.
From injuries? Because last year you saw that a lot where it's like, oh, he's going to come back soon. Kinda, not really. it's
Well, and
hard
then
for
you
me.
had
He's a
the
hard
mental
player.
health thing where it was like he was struggling with his mental health after the injury, and that kept him out, for a little bit of time. And not that that's like anything that I think people need to put too much weight into, but that's another thing, obviously, to just tell you that the injury was maybe more serious than people thought because it obviously dealt with his mental health. Now, I just wanted to mention this before we move on to the next trade here, because we're talking about Jacobs and we're talking about Bucky. I do a lot of best ball drafts, in the summer, and I like doing them because I think it helps me as a dynasty manager, where a lot of the times I sit there and I think about future long-term implications. What is going to happen all the time in the future? When I do best ball drafts, I'm trying to think about who's going to score me points right now, and anybody who's risky, I'm not really drafting right now. You know what I mean? Like I think about what can you do for me today? And so I like to do that as like a little bit of a balance. It's the yin to the yang of my dynasty fantasy football. And just to give you an idea here, Bucky Irving is a player that I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only have 5 guys drafted more than Bucky Irving at the running back position.
Okay.
And that's because of where his value is in drafts. Now, Jacobs isn't a guy that I've faded, but I still have quite a bit of Jacobs. It's just I have half the amount of Jacobs that I do Bucky Irving. And that's because when you look at the ADPs of these two guys in best ball, people are projecting Josh Jacobs to be he's right now in ADP, he's the running back 17 in single season formats.
Okay.
Bucky Irving is the running back 26. So keep that in mind. But if I think these two guys are close and one of them's at the 26 and the other one's at 18, you see why I have a lot of Bucky Irving.
There's some absolutely insane running back values right now in is it Underdog or
It's
is
Underdog?
it just
Yeah. I mainly do all of mine on Underdog.
Okay.
Yeah. But Achan, crazy value. Bucky Irving's a great value. Another guy that I think is very unpopular that people would say is gross. They probably throw up when they hear that I'm drafting a lot of this guy. RJ Harvey is the guy that I'm drafting a lot of, actually. Because Harvey's being drafted in the mid 30s, running back 35.
That's crazy. Because he's a running back, and Matt was even talking about this on this week's podcast, is he's a player that you could see a path for him to be like a top 10 running back. He needs volume, obviously, but
dude,
there's not very many running backs going in that range that you can say that about. You can't say that about Manungai.
No,
you really can't. Like players like that.
RJ Harvey was an RB1 in the back parts of the year when Dobbins was hurt. In fantasy points per game, he was an RB1. Do we believe? I know we want to. Do we believe that Dobbins is really going to be this guy who's going to stay healthy for a 17-game slate? Do we believe that Dobbins is going to be, around all year? I hope. It would be cool for J.K. Dobbins. Everybody wants to root for J.K. Dobbins. History tells us he's not going to be available all year. And RJ Harvey's proven that when you give him the workload, he may be a little bit inefficient, but when he has the volume, he produces.
So we have our first Roma Dunze trade.
Okay.
I
also see we got a super chat if you want to get the super chat before we hop into the next trade.
Okay, let's pull that up. Actually, that was going to be the next trade. But thanks, Mike. Let me pull that up. Well, how about you talk about this trade and then
I got you. Yeah. I didn't mean to take you out of your flow there.
No, I actually have it. I have it ready to go. There we go. Mike with the 5.
Mike with the super chat. Look, and I like to tell people that, first of all, I appreciate you for the super chat, but also if you throw the super chat in, I like to say that you can skip the line. So that's what Mike gets to do right here. So if you want to skip the line, you know what to do. 1 quarterback, PPR, no tight end premium. Daniels for Marvin and Jordan Tyson.
So
the fact that
it's by the way, I just put them both up. So it's 1 quarterback. Would you give Marvin Harrison Jr. or Jordan Tyson for Jaden Daniels?
Okay.
You already have May, though.
Yeah, you already have May. Am I crazy here, Pete, to think that my Jaden Daniels in a 1 QB league should still get me more than either of these two guys? The rushing upside of Jaden Daniels is nuts.
Yeah. I mean, so this is one quarterback ADP. Tyson is going 54. Harrison Jr. unranked. That's a bug. I just set this up today, so we're going to have to be patient with me.
All good.
Daniels is 29.
So right? I think you should be getting more. I mean, my gut initially went like, I think you should be in the range of like Ladd. Like, I think Ladd McConkey is like in that range where you're selling Jaden Daniels. Maybe a guy like Olave is where you're at. Nico Collins. Like, those are kind of the range. I want to get up a little bit more, but specifically like a Ladd or an Olave. So I think for me, if the question is whether or not I would do this, I know you don't need Jaden Daniels right now, and it feels like sunk cost because it's sitting there on your bench, because I'm assuming you're wanting to start Drake May most weeks.
So he's getting Daniels. That's my understanding, because he has Tyson and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Good catch. And he has Ladd, actually, by the way.
So do you take the value? It's hard because you look at that wide receiver room. It's a young room, but you take away Marvin Harrison Jr. or Tyson.
I'll tell you what I would do. It like legitimately, my advice, if this was me, I'm starting to ask some people in the league behind closed doors, on the back door type of deal, where it's like, hey, would you, and here's how I would shop it, by the way.
For May, right?
For May.
Yep.
Yes. Do you want May for George Pickens? Do you want May for Chris Olave? Do you want May for Tedero McMillan? Like, I'm going around and trying to shop my Drake May. And when somebody says yes, or they're ready to play ball, bang, come back and get this Jaden Daniels deal. And I just replaced my Drake May with Jaden Daniels. And now I've leveled up my roster.
And that would be perfect. Yeah. If you could up tier from the wide receiver you're getting up, and it's a lateral move. I mean, if Daniels and May are on the field together,
they're pretty close.
The same amount of points.
Yeah. And I think what you got to do is, because what you want to do, this sounds so, I promise you're not being sneaky. I mean, you are being sneaky, but
it's my favorite thing to do though.
This is how you play, man. Sometimes you got to play ball.
Two trades lined up and you just hit accept on both of them.
Well, what I'm trying to do here, Pete, is I'm trying to get this guy to put this in my inbox to where I can press accept on it. Because what I don't want to happen is once I get that May deal to go through, I don't want him to be like, oh, I can get more for Jaden Daniels now.
Correct.
So what I want you to do is I want it to be where you get that deal done. And then as soon as that deal goes through on May, you can come back to your inbox and press accept on the JD deal. And then all of a sudden it's just bang, bang. 2 trades hit your league chat. You sent away Drake May, you got Jaden Daniels, and your team got better. That's what you're trying to do.
Great. Okay.
That's fun, man. I like that type of deal, man. That's so fun.
Yeah, you have to keep us updated with that trade, Mike.
Yeah, then you walk away feeling like, you know what I'm doing, right?
Yep. Okay. By the way, Giga Chad Odunze headshot right here. I don't know what's happening.
Brain mogging Igbuka right here, dude.
Yeah. So traded Rome in a mid 27 second for Igbuka. Thoughts on this? What do you think?
I'm Igbuka here, man. Igbuka's been my guy this offseason. I've really been adamant that Rome's been undervalued as well, but a second round pick to go from the risk of Rome in a crowded wide receiver core to Igbuka, who's really not that in a crowded wide receiver core and is a little bit younger. I would rather go with Igbuka here.
Perfect. Okay, next trade, Breece Hall for Casey Concepcion and a 28 first. PPR 10 team Superflex double flex.
Breece Hall for what?
For Concepcion and a 28 first. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I can't see it. So I was
like, man, is the text really small or something? Okay.
No. Okay,
we're back.
Yeah, this one for me is Brees Hall. I like KC, but in a 10-man league, start 9, I talked about just a couple trades ago in that 10 by 10 where it's like the running back's harder to get. When you have a guy that you can plug in, you want the guys that you can start. In a 10 by 9, KC feels like he might not be playable this year. In a 28 first, it's so far into the future. I'll just take Brees and plug him in as my RB2 every week.
Okay. Next trade, Cam Ward and Carnell Tate for Dart, Henderson, and Terry McLaurin. I love the Dart side, man.
I love the Dart side here too, man. I got such a big gap in my rankings between Dart and Ward, and I like Tate a lot. But the person who's getting Ward and Tate here is paying a premium almost to get the stack. Give me Dart and Henderson and McLaurin, man.
Henderson's ADP is higher, like lower than higher. How's that work? It's at 42 and Tate's at 43. So you're getting in value there. And then Dart versus Ward is no question.
Not even close.
So you're getting a free Terry.
Yeah. Like you're winning the deal if Terry's not in it, and then you're getting Terry thrown in for free.
That's almost like if I wanted to trade for Dart, I would need like a second. Right. So it'd be like Cam Ward and Carnell Tate for Dart in a second. Or something like that. Like even like Henderson's not close.
Depending on the format and the scoring, obviously we don't have that here. Like if it's a super flex or a 6-point passing touchdown, and it's like 12 or 14 teams, I would do Dart for Ward and Tate alone.
Yeah.
But I'm in on the Dart train.
Okay. Next trade, we have Brian Thomas Jr. at 27 first for George Pickens and a 27 third. Wondering if I should trade for a different player or ask for more in that trade.
No, I mean, I think the value's fine here. Pickens is higher in my rankings, but like I said, I'm kind of in on the BTJ breakout again, secondary breakout, I guess, the bounce back for BTJ. Here's the reality, and this might be an unpopular opinion, Pete, but I'm going to rip it off anyways and just let it hit how it hits. Good. BTJ and Pickens are kind of the same type of player. One of them just plays with Dak Prescott in Dallas. The other one plays in Jacksonville. They're kind of the same type of guy.
So you're saying that they're both wide receivers, and except one plays for Jacksonville and the other one plays for the Cowboys?
I mean, more so of like the field stretching, big playability. They're not necessarily going to be like volume guys for the most part. Like we're not thinking of them in the same light as like a Amon-Ra or a Jefferson or a JSN, right? Like they're not the PPR monsters that are going to go in there and get 10 catches a game, 15 targets a game. But they're going to play deep downfield. They're going to score touchdowns. They're going to play like jump balls. They're the same type of guy from that aspect. I just think with Dallas, you have a team here that is almost like, for years we talked about the Cincinnati Bengals, where it was like bad defense, great offense, fantasy points galore. That's Dallas right now. And if you're rebuilding or retooling and you want to gamble, I actually like the thought process here of going to BTJ on the bounce back and getting the first round pick.
I like it. I don't know if you noticed me making a face.
Yeah, you were cringing. I don't know.
I'm not making a trade graphic for this. I appreciate you asking this question, but should I trade away Sadiq for Loveland?
If both of your league mate, I mean, if you and your league mate are both drunk, I'm just kidding. You want Loveland here?
Yes,
all day.
Yeah, I mean, I would trade 2.5 Sadiqs for Loveland.
For the record, it's Sadiq plus like probably 1 to 2 firsts that you need to go get to Loveland. So like the fact that you can do it straight up isn't even a question.
Yep. Okay, next trade, another Odunze trade. Let's go. 12-team Superflex. Odunze and McConkey for Justin Jefferson.
I struggle with deals like this because I think value-wise, if you want to play the game of like how many points per game is Rome going to get you in your lineup, and how many is Lag going to get you? And is that going to be worth more than Justin Jefferson? If you have the 2 starting spots, I can understand it. But a lot of the times, I really struggle with not just taking the best player in the deal. So this is Jefferson for me. But I could see a situation again. Like I said, I keep bringing it up, and maybe this is just my little request for you folks that do submit trades. Like, it does help me a lot pick a side when you say the direction you want to go.
Yeah.
Like if you're rebuilding or contending or you're middle of the pack, it's good to know those terms, because a rebuilding team, I might tell you Rome and Lad is a good move for a rebuilder. When I don't know, I tend to just go with contending, and that is Jefferson here for me.
Okay. Okay, next trade, tight end premium.
Are you the same? Before we get into this one real quick, like, when it comes to deals like that one,
correct.
2 young guys for a guy like Jefferson, who's a superstar. If I'm rebuilding, I'm okay doing that deal, but anything other than that, like, just give me the best player.
Correct. I mean, like, because rebuilding, I'm playing the game of in 2 years, who's more valuable.
Right.
Right. So,
and like, how can I accumulate the most value on my roster compared to how can I get the most points in my lineup?
Correct. Yeah. It totally changes how you trade. And that's why Dynasty's the best. Yeah. Right? Because you have trade, your goal is to always find people in your league that you are partners with. You don't want to
directions.
Yeah. Rebuilder to rebuilder doesn't work. You don't want that, or contender to contender. So that's why it's so important, like tools like the Dynasty GM, to figure out where you are in the league and who are the other people that you can help out, and that they can help you out.
Yeah. And also talking to your league mates, because there's times, Pete, where, a tool like the GM might say that this team should be rebuilding, but that manager somehow thinks he's contending.
And that is when you can get the best value, because they are trading away their picks for players, and you can just get those early picks.
Yep. All right.
Tight end premium, he got Loveland for Kenneth Walker. What are you thinking?
Yeah, tight end premium. I like taking the Loveland side here. I think both of these guys are probably similar values, and the fact that he has Bijan and Genty, I mean, just fill the roster and the lineup where you need it the most, and Loveland is one of the better bets that you can make. So I like this.
Great. Straight up, Christian McCaffrey for Luther Burden. Running backs are Judkins, Love, Dobbins, Aaron Jones, Charbonnet. Wide receivers are JSN, Pickens, Olave, Egbuka, and Burden. This is almost if this is a 10-team league, I like it.
Yeah, like 10-team league, contending team, you want to have the Christian McCaffrey side.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ADPs on these are crazy far apart, but I don't think they should be crazy far apart.
No, I don't understand the wide receiver 24.
I kind of lean Burden here, Pete.
Because that running back room now is Judkins, Love. Having Dobbins as your running back 3 hurts. But wide receiver wise, JSN, Pickens, Olave, Egbuka.
Yeah, good shout. Good shout. Yeah, I wasn't even looking at the team context here.
And he's trying to three-peat.
Oh, yeah. Trying to go in and win right now. Yeah, I think in a bubble, you could argue that these 2 guys are really close in value. Like I said, I don't understand why the ADPs are so far apart from them, because I do like Burden, this year. For what it's worth, I've been very high on Rome. Ben Johnson can't shut his mouth about Luther Burden. He can't do it. I don't know what it is. It's just, obviously Burden's been playing lights out, and Chris McCaffrey, hand to God right now, being honest with everybody, I've been lower on than consensus this offseason. Like, I'm willing to miss the one last elite season of Christian McCaffrey if I can get out at top dollar. But if you're trying to three-peat back to back to back, there's no better bet to swing for the fences than CMC.
Nope.
So I get it. And you bring up the perfect point there, Pete. And the wide receiver room is deep. So Burden is expendable.
Yeah, the only thing that I would be tempted to do is see if you could shop Burden around, because I do know that there's a lot of people that are super high on him.
Yeah, and that's
So
why
if
I'm
you could
so
get a better running back,
reluctant to move him right now, is I feel like
yeah.
the market for him is insane. Like, I'm gonna throw out a couple names. Do you think it's even possible? Could I get Chase Brown?
Man, if I'm contending, I would rather have CMC. If I'm going in for a three-peat,
Fair. I think CMC.
he likes that electricity, man.
Maybe
He likes it.
I mean, you've seen the theories of like the sacrifices. All these guys
Yep.
getting injured are actually just helping CMC stay healthy. Like,
Yeah,
yes.
he is. You know how people have like grounding mats and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He has like anti-grounding mats. He just
Yeah.
needs the power from electricity to. But
What about Jonathan
but
Taylor?
yes, Jonathan Taylor. Yeah,
You'd
and
rather
I could see that happening.
you'd rather JT than CMC?
Yeah. New
James Cook?
contract, younger. Yeah, James Cook.
Could you?
That's the range of running back that I'm trying to.
You know what I'm
trade
actually
Burden
trying to
for.
do? And I don't know if he has them. This is actually what I'm trying to do is I'm taking my first round pick if I still have it in my pocket. 'Cause I'm trying to 3P here, right? Like,
Yeah.
take my 27 first and take Luther Burden, and somebody give me Devon Achane.
Yeah.
Devon Achane's value is low. People don't think he's going to be great this year because of the situation. Give me Achane for Burden in a first.
Yep. No, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a fast one. Zay Flowers in 27 fourth for Woody Markson in 27 first. I'm doing Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I'll take Zay here too. That's pretty easy.
Next trade is Brock Purdy in a 27 first. I'm doing Brock Purdy. 16 team. One quarterback though.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, 16 team, 1 QB. It kind of levels it out a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then it says he's my only quarterback, and I'm hesitant because people are not moving quarterbacks in the league. If he's your only QB,
Purdy.
Yeah, if he's your only QB and people don't want to trade QBs, keep Purdy.
So Aaron Rodgers is currently my only other quarterback. So he has Aaron Rodgers, but I don't know if that was intentional saying that.
I mean, Brock Purdy's his only other QB.
If you trade away Brock Purdy, you don't have a quarterback.
You don't want to start Aaron Rodgers every week. And also we know that Aaron Rodgers is retiring at the end of the season. So
yep. 10 team PPR, Superflex, Double Flex.
Holy frame mog from Braylon Allen as well.
Dude, what are these headshots? I need to find where I'm pulling these from. These are great. Because some of them still look pretty normal.
Yeah.
But man, there's a couple just absolute chads right now. Lad McConkey and Braylon Allen for Travion Henderson, Marvin Harrison Jr. This is not close.
Yeah, this one is Marvin and Travion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be, if someone sent me this offer, I would be annoyed at them. Because
decline it and say, don't talk to me again.
Yeah. What are we doing?
No, it's pretty easy.
I like this trade. I'm curious where you're going though. Neighbors in a 27 first for Puka.
I think I like going to the Neighbors in the first side.
Yep.
Because I think when
training practices starting to come out, and
and I think when healthy, Neighbors and Puka are much closer than we are ranking them today. And you're getting a free 27 first. So I'll take Neighbors in the first.
Great. This would make it even more clear if it was Superflex, because it just makes that 27 first a little bit more valuable. Straight up, Matthew Golden and Jaden Higgins.
Wow.
ADP is pretty close.
Yeah, I probably go with Matthew Golden. Right now, a little bit better draft capital. A guy who I think is going to have a little bit more opportunity and a little bit of a better offense. So they're very close, which doesn't make you feel good if you drafted Matthew Golden in the first round of your rookie drafts last year. But I think I go Golden here.
Okay. Side note, do you know how I know that football's back? We have 123 people watching right now on YouTube. So if you can smash that like button, would love it.
Do that for us.
Next trade, Superflex. CJ Stroud or Jadarian Price?
I think Stroud's undervalued right now, but it's got to be Jadarian Price, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I just think it's easier to find a Stroud level replacement than it is to find Jadarian Price right now.
Okay, next trade. Amon-Ra St. Brown for T. Higgins and 227 first, one mid, one early. Already have Gibbs, Bijan, Chase, Jefferson, Walker, Judkins, and Tate.
Wow. I mean, the fact that one of these is early and the other one's mid does make it interesting. Because if all of a sudden that early starts talking about Jeremiah Smith or Cam Coleman, you start feeling pretty solid. Although that being said, here's going to be my counter argument, Pete. He lists his team as Gibbs, Bijan, Chase, Jefferson, Walker, Judkins, Tate. Why trade away Amon-Ra St. Brown? You could go get Jeremiah Smith at the best case scenario, but why trade away Amon-Ra St. Brown when you can just play Jefferson, Chase, and Amon-Ra every single week with Gibbs and Bijan
OP,
and win a championship?
Yeah.
So while the value's there, keep Amon-Ra and go win that championship right now.
Especially Amon-Ra, man. He's such a workhorse.
And he's going to be good for another 4 years. We're not worried about Amon-Ra.
Great. Next trade, we have 10-team Superflex contender. Saquon Barkley, Jaden Reed, and the 107, or Rachaad White, 109, 206, and a 27 first.
I'm going to go with
late 27 first.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Saquon and the 107 side here. I think the 107 keeps you in a slightly different tier. We already said that Saquon can be worth the late first in 2027 by himself, and then it's kind of just talking about Jaden Reed versus Rachaad White in the second, and I think I'd rather have Jaden Reed there. So value's fine. I think it's a fair deal across the board, but I'd rather have Saquon, the 107, and Reed.
Great. Side note, the closer we get to week one, the more bearish I am on Rachaad White. Just from what I've been seeing and hearing, Krosky Merritt is younger.
I think it's going to be messy.
And is more talented. Yeah.
I think it's going to be messy. I think you're going to get probably more JCM than we want if you're a Rachaad White truther. And I think if you're a JCM truther, you're probably going to get more Rachaad White in the receiving game than you want. So I think it's going to be messy for both, honestly.
Yeah, I'm just trying to stay away from both, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, I used to be more White, but now I'm pretty...
I think because there was a period of time where White was significantly cheaper. And now they're both kind of similar cost, which makes me not be in on White as much because he's not cheap anymore.
Yeah, what's so ADP on White is 155.
Yep.
And the ADP on let's see, Corey is 164. No, ADP is 132.
Yeah, so they're not too far off.
Nope. Okay, next trade. We have Ashton Genty and a 27 second for Bucky Irving, Ladd McConkey at 28 first and a 29 first.
Yeah, this is another one where you start looking at this and it's like there's just value all on that right side of the board, but the best player is Ashton Genty, and it's a 28 and a 29 first, which does devalue that slightly for me. But again, we get to a point here, Pete, where it's a 10 by 10. And if I'm trying to win and I'm contending and I'm trying to start a lineup right here, I think Ashton Genty's the side you want to be on. But again, this is another one where go Cougs. If you're a rebuilding team, you're a team that is, playing for the future. I could see you going Ladd and Bucky. Maybe, but I want to be on the Ashton Genty side here.
Okay. Interesting trade here. Gave up Brock Bowers and Jamar Chase for Jamar Gibbs, Nico Collins, Jake Ferguson and a 28 first.
Look, man, pretty easy for me. Jamar Chase and Brock Bowers. That's where I want to be.
Yep.
I think Chase and Gibbs, we could probably cross them off as equals. And then you tell me, would you rather have Nico Ferg in a first and 28 or Brock Bowers? It's Brock Bowers.
Love it. Okay, here's an interesting one. Start 10. Would you guys rather have Caleb Williams and almost guaranteed 27-101? Almost guaranteed is not guaranteed at all.
You're telling me there's a chance. I would rather have Caleb Williams here.
Easy.
Yeah. This is just one of those ones where it's like, I could get the next shiny thing in Jeremiah Smith, or I could have the guy in Caleb Williams in a super flex. I'll just take what I know right now in Caleb Williams.
I mean, on the website, we have him ranked at 8. So if you can tell me, would you rather have the 8th ranked overall player
or Jeremiah Smith?
Or Jeremiah Smith, who could turn into Marvin Harrison Jr. Maybe.
Well, and you might not even guarantee that it's him.
Man, who was the last player like that had that much hype that busted? Can you think of one?
Like the number 1 Dynasty start, like rookie pick.
That's where I'm like, I don't want to say too big to fail.
I mean, there was a very loud tank for Tua crowd. The tank for Tua, tank for Tua, tank for Tua.
Yep.
And then Tua ended up being like the 4th best quarterback in his draft class, or 5th best maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what? Jordan Love over him.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts, Herbert, Burrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Wide receiver, though, wise, I can't think of a wide receiver prospect that looked as good as he has that at least didn't hit to some extent.
Let's hit this super chat here from Shane, and then we're past the hour mark. What do you say we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up after this.
All right. But look, 10 team, 1 quarterback, PPR start 9, 3 wide receivers, contending team, sending away JSN, Saquon, Brees, Jameson Williams, 201, 28 second. You get London, Egbuka, Hampton, 27 first, 27 third. I just stole your job there, Pete. I apologize, but
I appreciate it on this trade.
Yeah, it's a lot of pieces. Man, I'm trying to do the math here, and I'm telling you right now, the math, as much as I like some of these pieces, I'm starting to struggle to find where it's all adding up, because the big piece on the other side is JSN. But what gets you to JSN? Does Hampton in the 27 first get you to JSN?
It gets you close. I mean, were you saying 4 firsts?
Yeah, but Hampton's probably worth what? 2?
2.5, I would say.
Yeah, so you're close.
I would say London in a first.
London in a first get you to JSN?
That's a little bit of an overpay, but
yeah, I mean, it depends on where the first lands, but like you said, like it gets you close. And then it's Egbuka for Hampton. I mean, I'd take Egbuka. If you gave me Brees and Saquon alone for Egbuka, I'd still go Egbuka. And then it's JMO. Yeah. I kind of want to go with the London, Egbuka, Hampton. That's where my gut's telling me to go here.
Yeah, because I could easily see London jump into that next tier.
Egbuka can ascend. Hampton can ascend. Like, all of the assets you're gaining here can ascend. Whereas I don't see Saquon ascending. I don't see JMO ascending. Brees,
I could see Saquon overperforming his projected this year.
ADP. Yeah. But at long term, I don't think his value is going to jump. So, yeah, I kind of want to go with the London Egbuka side here. And especially, considering that it is a 1 QB start 10, a 10 team, 1 QB start 9. Guys like JMO are like flex plays in that type of format, whereas Hampton and Egbuka every week starts.
Gibbs, Hendo, Judkins. Yeah, I mean, yeah, give me the Hampton side.
Yeah, that's where I want to be.
Perfect.
All right, folks, that is everything. Look, we are all caught up, I guess, on the trades for the most part. We do this every single Friday. Every Friday we come in, we do a live stream, we answer your questions, talk about some of the news, all that good stuff. So if you guys enjoyed some time with us here today, do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, come join us next week. All that good stuff, man. We'll be here as long as you guys are here. So actually, Pete, I don't think I will be here next week. Either Garrett's filling in for me or there's no show because I'm out of town.
Or it's just me. Pete solo show.
So that being said, make sure you're tapped in still. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the like. But I have nothing else. Do you have anything for the people?
Football's back.
Football's back, baby. We'll see you guys. They'll see you next week, maybe. I'll see you the week after. Football's back, though. We'll see you.
See ya.
Peace.